Welcome to the Enlightened Misfits podcast, the space for entrepreneurs on a quest for unwavering certainty and purpose. I'm your host, Lauren, and each episode is a compass guiding you through authentic conversations, unraveling the mysteries of your human design chart, and offering tools from the remarkable guest. Join me as we embark on a journey to manifest greatness and create a life aligned with our deepest purpose. This is the space where misfits find their enlightenment. Welcome to the Enlightened Misfits podcast. Welcome back to the Enlightened Misfits podcast. I am your host, Lauren. In today's episode, I have Kristen MF Clark. Just want to let you know that make sure if you Google her name, you put the MF so you can find her. And she is a public speaker. Welcome, Kristen. I'm so happy to have you here with me today.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here.
Of course. Well, before we get into our conversation, tell the guests like who you are and a little bit about your story.
Well, I'm Kristen Clark. And it's funny because I get people that are like, what do you do? I do Kristen Clark. And for all those years that I was trying to do something else, it never worked. Kristen Clark always kind of somehow got her way in there. And Lauren and I were just talking about doing events and you don't remember, or you have this grand plan of how it was supposed to go, and then no. And this is a huge part of what I do, which is the me to physical. Now it's metaphysical, but it has a hyphen between the E and the T. And what that really is it's a call to action to embrace the me, who you are, because all of us have had some underlying thing that is us. And no matter how many, whether we're dressing it up with law of attraction or law of this or all these fancy labels, it is its own thing. It's its own message that always finds its way in to whatever you're doing. And it's amazing. And that's what the metaphysical is all about. It's about finding that part of you and now taking it's the magic of the life we live in, the human experience, being alive, swirls around me, this being right here. And this is, Lauren and I are going to talk about this, but from a different angle. And we're going to have so much fun today. But yeah, that's what I do. That's, for all the years of everybody telling us we're not the center of the reality. Yeah, you are. And the thing is I'm big on science. I should have been from Missouri because I'm all about show me. And, I love fluffy words. That's all fine, but show me. And I do. That's my thing, is to step up and ask you questions that anchor you into the, oh my gosh, it really is all about me.
Yeah, I love that you said that you're into science, because I always say, like, quantum physics or physics, I should say. It's why I went to the route of an ultrasound tech, because you had to have a physics, state board.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I failed it twice and passed it my third time, it was more of like I could understand to a deeper level of why things worked. And I always I asked those questions. Well, why was it this way? Why? I was very kid, and it's like nobody could tell me why it was that way. Now, of course, you could just ask Google.
Chat GPT. Yes.
Or yeah, I call my Chat GPT. I say chat. People are like, chat. Your chat.
Yeah.
GPT, but I call it chat.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. It's so good. We could do a whole series on that.
Love it. I just love science so much. So, so you've had 3 near-death experiences.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about, some of the most unexpected truths, I would say, that you've encountered through these moments?
The major unexpected truth is that we don't die. And I don't mean our soul doesn't die. I don't mean our invisible blah, blah. I mean this right here, blonde hair, has an elbow, has earrings. This does not die. And one of the easiest ways, and I'm going to tell you guys about the experiences, but one of the easiest ways to understand this is to ask yourself, do I have any memory of not existing? Yeah. You might have stories you tell about past life, this and that, but who's telling the story? Who's watching the movie? It's always you. It's always you. Yeah. Always comes back to you. Every single detour you take, every, sparkly avenue over here that you think is going to help you understand more about you, you play with it, and then you come back to you. You always come back to you. Even if somebody's hypnotizing you and they're like, oh, you were a scullery maid back in whatever, when you're the one watching this, you're the one performing this, you're the one weaving the story. It's always basic you. It always comes back to the foundation of you. So that was the biggest thing I learned. And my first NDE was, as a child, I overdosed on a bunch of medications that were my mother's. And back then they called it swallowing your tongue. You go into such a state of relaxation, death, that everything relaxes and your tongue, blocks your airway. And my father was able to bring me back. Thank goodness I had a doctor around. And, I don't have a whole lot of memories from that. I have a whole lot of memories of tripping my ass off on those drugs. I have all sorts of memories of seeing rats in my rug and things coming out of my closet. And I have all sorts of memories about that. But then my next NDE was, I was surfing, and I was surfing in waves I had no business being in. And I drowned. I literally drowned. I lost my surfboard. I was in huge waves. I got held down, and then I got held down even longer. And there comes a time of exhaustion where every muscle in your body stops work. It cannot work. Even the ability to go, and it's even looking around. You can't. All you can do is just be this blob. And here comes another giant wave. And at that point, all I could do was just close my eyes. I couldn't even take a breath. And when I was being held down, I was distinctly aware, I'm dead. I'm done. What you couldn't see the water, nothing. It was just, I'm dead. And in that moment, I had this realization that my son, my 8-year-old son, is out there playing with his friend in the sand, while I'm surfing. And oh no, I will not be dying today. I have a child to take care of. And with that thought, I came out, and there was a surfer right there, whereas before there was nobody around. There was a surfer right there, and he goes, "Do you need help?" And I'm like, yeah. And he wrapped his leash around my arm and he pulled me in. And see, the thing is this was the beginning of going, what happened? Was that death? What happened? Because the thing is this, I get towed in, and it wasn't the end of the movie, credits didn't roll. I had to go get my child, and I had to go find my surfboard, and I had to load them all up in the car, and we had to go home and have dinner, and then you take a shower and you go to work the next day, and you don't stop. You don't stop. And that was a huge message to me. I was kind of like going, I need to stop and examine what happened. But life doesn't let you do that. I wanted there to be like people going, oh my God, I heard what happened to you. Are you okay? I wanted that. But no, I had to be a mom, and I had to carry on. And that was the first inkling that death was nothing of what we thought. And that's when I started really seeking out just channelers and stuff, and telling that story and saying, well, what is death? And one of the things that Abraham Hicks always talks about is that It's not a stopping. Death is you walking from your kitchen to your bathroom, and that version of you that was in the kitchen is now dead. You don't stop on the way to the bathroom and look back longingly at the kitchen going, oh, I can't leave. That's not what happens. You just go on. So you're doing this billions of times a day, moving from one state of being to another. Tying your shoes when a minute before you were in the shower. The shower version of you's dead. And so they kept saying, this is death, this is death. And I could feel this. I could feel there was like yeah, but I've watched my grandmother die, or my mother, excuse me, my grandson's grandmother. I ran over a squirrel. I've seen death. I've experienced death. So what's this juxtaposition here? What is this? So here's the sciencey, what is this? And so then I want answers. So then I start having this thought of, what if that's just us manifesting something to support this state of death that I'm playing with? Because we do this all day long. We manifest memories. I put them in quotes because memories they're just a thought. And so I start thinking like, okay, I know when I'm talking about death, we're all thinking of experiences with death we've had, things we see on TV, personal experiences. And it's like, yeah, but is that happening right now? Is watching my mother die happening right now? No, it's just a memory. So it's like, okay. So then my third NDE is I drove off a cliff in the mountains, and it was like a 70-foot drop to nothing. It was instant death, instant die. And I am very aware, I distinctly have the memory of right there, going right over that cliff. And then in the next instant, I was down the road, parked on the side of the road. And it was like, and I look back at the part of the road where I drove off, and I'm like looking for myself. I'm looking for the car. I'm looking for the wreck. I'm looking for me. I just have a split, like, where's my death? And then going, what am I doing here? How did I get here? And in that moment, the question of, do you have any memory of not existing, popped in. And it was like, well, no, but I know I was born. I know we all die. And it's like, really? Have you died? Have you? And at that time, I was still playing with souls and consciousnesses and all that. And I was just like, well, the simplest answer is no. I have no memory of not existing. And Occam's razor, most obvious answer is the answer. So then it got bigger. It was like, do you have this body, do you have any memory of this body not existing? No. I've got a lot of pictures. I've got a lot of, stories, but I don't have any solid evidence in the state of a memory, of knowing, of seeing, of that experience. And then in that moment, you start asking, okay, I can imagine anything. Can I imagine myself not existing? It's not possible. It's not possible for you to imagine your own non-existence because you're the one imagining things. It still always comes back to you. So you want to ask a question?
I was gonna go back to your third near-death experience.
Yes.
Of when because I know I'm thinking like, wait a second. So you drove off a cliff. Now, did you drive off the cliff? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I distinctly remember losing control of the car.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Lost control of the car and went off the cliff. Okay.
And went off the cliff. Yeah.
I'm thinking listeners are probably like, wait a second. There's a part that
I know there's something missing in there. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
that's where I was too.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, wait a minute. Where's that middle section of the car being in the air, and how did I get just 100 yards down the road, parked on the side of the road? There's nothing down there but straight sheer cliff to death.
Right.
And it wasn't like Thelma and Louise. It wasn't okay, roll credits. It wasn't like, and it, once again, I was like distinctly aware of, okay, you go on. Yeah, you had that experience. Okay, now keep driving. You have to go run your errands. You got to go do your stuff. And that's exactly it. I mean, and that was the biggest aha in there, was like, where's the fanfare? Where's heaven? Where's all these things? Where's the white fucking light? And it's like, and it, no, you just go on. I didn't even get the chance to have a thought of, no, I'm not leaving. I didn't even get that. It was just, okay, had that experience. Now let's keep going down the road and go do the things you were driving on the road for. And you have, and the thing is, this is, you always get to the other side of whatever experience it is, whether you've been in a horrible accident and you're in the hospital or whatever, you always get to the other side. There's never the halt of your being. That you always, you could be out in the middle of nowhere, haven't seen a human being in 8 hours, and now you have a flat tire, and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because I don't have the right tire iron. This is my own story. And all of a sudden, somebody shows up. That's life. You're never stranded. You're never, ever, ever stranded. You always. So, you start realizing this. And when those times happen, you can, instead of going, oh my God, what do I do? I don't have cell service. I'm out in the middle of freaking Montana wilderness. You get to go, let's see what's going to happen. Because I know I'm going to get to the other side of this. Let's see what's going to happen. And you can have all these horror stories in your mind, of, oh, I'm going to be out here for days and days and days because I watched a movie where that happened. And it's like, yeah, but does that happen to you? No, it doesn't. And so the whole purpose of the metaphysical is focusing in on yourself enough like that circumstances and stories and stuff they can't sway you. And even if you're trembling, like we were talking before, even if you're shaking in your boots, you still know I'm the center here. And there's a lot more going on here than I'm seeing. And all I have to do is go, okay, that's just a thought. But is that physically happening right now? No. Okay. And you just kind of hang out there, because in this now moment, you've never been this age before, right? You've never been this age. You're never going to be this age again. You've never, this exact cocktail of temperature and time and everything. You've never experienced this before. This is brand new. You are fresh in this moment. And here you go again, brand new, fresh in this moment. And that's the me. That's the me, where the stuff that is you, uniquely you, the messages always flow through. That's the you that, despite your best efforts to go down some direction of, like I said, law of attraction, law of assumption, non-duality, Christianity, whatever, that you is always right there going, just subtly putting her own message in. The message, that nobody had to teach you. Nobody had to teach you this. You naturally know it. And it's just like you. Nobody had to teach you about you. Nobody had to, take you as a baby and point you in a mirror and say, that is you. Your name is blah. Nobody did that, because you naturally knew you from the get-go. And you always do. And you're always here when everything else comes and goes, thoughts, beliefs, people, all that stuff. This never comes and goes. This is always right here.
Hey there, I just wanted to take a quick moment to share with all of you spiritual rebels and fempreneurs. If you've been craving a space where you can build wealth, heal trauma, and rise alongside like-minded women, I got something for you to hear about. I'm excited to invite you into the Enlightened Misfits Sisterhood. This is a low-cost, high-impact group membership designed exclusively for spiritual fempreneurs who know they need accountability and support to create sustainable wealth, but aren't ready to dive into a one-on-one mentorship. In this membership, you'll get monthly calls, rituals, healing sessions, and workshops to break through your self-doubt and build confidence so that you can consistently sell your offers and make money. This is also a collaborative private Facebook community where you make lifelong connections with other women who are just as serious as hitting their goals. And my personal guidance as your intuitive human design business guide and trauma healer, ensuring you stay aligned and on track with your business goals. Plus, you'll get free access to all my paid workshops and masterclasses, along with exclusive VIP pricing for my one-on-one Voxer membership. This membership is all about helping you heal the sabotaging behaviors blocking your abundance and using your human design to create a business that feels amazing to run. Imagine waking up excited to serve your clients and knowing that you have the exact support you need to hit every single one of your business goals every single month. So if you're ready to rise and build wealth with a sisterhood of spiritual misfits, make sure you click the registration link in the description box. Right now, the investment is just $88 a month, but the price will increase to $197 a month. Join today to unlock exclusive rates and get access to next month's kickoff call. Let's get back to today's episode, but remember, your next level is just one decision away. Join the sisterhood and let's rise together.
I going back to what you were just saying about that part that was missing. I feel like I'm relating this to my own experience and story, because I'm like, maybe that was what I was searching for. I was searching for, each time I've had a near-death experience, all 3 times, there was a part that I was like, I don't remember that part. Or I know all 3 of mine were self-inflicted, but why don't I remember that part? Or what made me do this? And it's like, I don't remember. I remember what I did. And then I'm just like awake, and I'm like, I then remembered maybe like months later of like, oh my goodness, I remember, like you said, the memory of that happening and why it happened. Or I was searching for, why do I feel this way? To now, it was a wounded part of myself that I needed to look at, that I was avoiding. Or like you said, life is gone. People are like, even when I talk about it now, or I tell clients, or tell, like, my family kind of knows about it, they just know about the near-death experience. I have not shared the rest of it because, that's not going to be acceptable to them, whatever. I just kept on going. And I noticed that the reason why I kept it to myself is because, like, it's not, quote unquote, society won't accept me, or I will be deemed as like, you're going to go to a mental institute or whatever, like whatever the case is, it's just so like, you need, all that stuff. Anyway, but when you were saying that, I was like, oh my goodness, that part was the part that's why I was like, wait, there's a part missing. It was always a part missing that I never really understood what happened. And then,
what if there's no part missing? What if, like, when you change the channel on the TV and you go from channel 2 to channel 5, it just does it. There's no part missing. There's no time of going from channel 2 to channel 5. There's nothing in there. It's just boom, boom. Yeah.
So when I said that, I was thinking, well, I know the time is not real. It's only like real in the 3D, right? So I realized that it happened, but it was just like, it kept on going. Like, it's like everything's happening in the here and now, like then this moment, everything's happening in the now, like, all that stuff. Then I started to believe, oh my goodness, I've always knew this. It's just now I've actually experienced it in a very traumatic way to believe what I know. So thank you for saying that, because I feel like that in itself, of you just sharing that, I feel like would really help others that have had near-death experiences, or like, what's happening? Is this real? Is it not? It is real, because it's
it's absolutely. And it's don't make it any bigger than a steak dinner. It's,
Right.
and that's the biggest thing is you go to sleep each night, you wake up the next morning, you're not sitting there going, what happened for those last 8 hours? You just, because that's life. You fall asleep, wake up, and now you go again. You get up, make a dinner, or make your breakfast and your coffee, and have your shower, and you just never ever stop. We do not stop. We as beings have never ever halted. We can give ourselves illusions that we do. We can give ourselves but if you really took a look at it, you're like, no, I didn't stop. I didn't. I never, ever, ever stopped. And it's no different than this, the sun comes up, there's this gorgeous sunrise, and it's like, stop, I gotta go get my phone so I can take a picture. And you come back and yeah, did it stop for you? No. And it never does. All throughout the day, whether you're paying attention to it or not, it's moving, 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 moving. And that's life. Life does not halt for you to go, wait a minute, what happened there? Let me examine it. Let me hold it and go, yeah, how's that work out for you? And the biggest thing that doesn't stop is you. This you were just saying, this now moment, we know Eckhart Tolle and all of that, but this now moment. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I just saw that little smoke thing go by you, and I was like, had a moment. And this now moment, instead of calling it the now, I call it the me, because it's synonymous, and it really is no now. There's just me. There's just me in this moment, fresh and brand new. That I love saying the cocktail of the time and the temperature and the light and everything. But especially the one thing that really hits for people, helps them understand this, is you've never been this age before. This exact second in time, you've never been this before, and you're never going to be it again. And when we stay in play in time, we're going, okay, well, here's another now, and here's another now, and here's another now, and that's fine. But you can feel how it's like, I can't quite wrap my brain around that. But when you're interacting with this now, this me, the capital M-E, when you're this, I've never been this age before, and you just hang out there, and how many seconds are going by, how many whatever, while you're just sitting here going, yeah, I've never been this age before. And just stay there. Don't say, oh, and now I haven't been this age before, and now I haven't. Just wipe that away, and just come to this moment of kind of like playing amnesia. Just wipe away everything you call a memory, everything you call an identity. Wipe it all away, because if you were to hit your head right now and forget even your name and everything, you're still you. You're still this me right here. Never been this, you're still this person right here. And this the way it always is. While everything can be forgotten, you can't. It's impossible. So you just hang out here, and just, you don't try. If you're trying to find this version of you, you've already bucked the flow. Good job. Well done. That's okay. Because we're our seeker selves are like, they want to have a scavenger hunt. they want that da, 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 that whoosh of the aha and the epiphany and all that. And that doesn't happen because you're with this version of you all day long, all the time, never have been away from it. So while you're drinking your coffee, or you're absent-mindedly, watching some TV, that's the being. This is the God. This is it all. This is the version of you that has always been and always will be. Not invisible, not gauzy like that smoke that keeps going by, Lauren. Nothing like that. This solid part of you. And it's the provable. It's absolutely provable.
Yes.
To yourself.
I was going to say, and I love that you had just said about the being, because I feel like a lot of us, especially entrepreneurs, have this hard time of just being. Of like, I feel like you don't have to be I guess, most entrepreneurs will be listening to this, but I'm just saying, like, even if you're not an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
just being able to be in the moment and like not have your phone, not be playing a game, not be doing something, not be watching TV, and just like being with yourself. I feel like that's the hardest. It was for me anyway in the beginning, the
Yeah.
hardest to just sit here and just think and like just be with
Yeah.
myself and like listen to my thoughts, or like, what am I thinking about? Like,
And
just
what if you're not? Do you stop being you?
no.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, like
You know, release those flippin' shackles of this is mindfulness.
right.
Oh, bite
Yeah.
me. That's telling me I'm broken. That's telling me I'm not there yet. I have to. And so then, oh my God, how many hours do we sit trying to force ourselves to be something that somebody else has deemed that's the way it must be, but because that's the way it is for them. That's not the way it is for you. The most easiest mindless version of you, and if that's the scrolling and that's the doing all that, you're still you. You're not a broken part of you. You can't stop being you no matter what you're playing in, because this, like we were saying, this you just kind of subtly sneaks her way in. And if you really are getting off track, he will pull your ass right back in. it, yeah, you know, not a problem. And it's, the more we try to be some definition that you could easily forget because you got hit on the head. You forgot what mindfulness is, forgot what Eckhart Tolle said the now is, forgot all of that. Who's still right here? You. And it's that simple. It really is that simple. You can make it so difficult. Cool, go for it. I call that being alive. And I love that you said being, because, we think alive is a heartbeat, but being alive is being, really being, shaking in your shoes, vibrating low, having boogers. That is being. You are alive. You have we're not even multidimensional, infinite dimensional versions of yourself. And it's that is you, the you that is just as imperfect. You are not imperfect. This makes you more perfect. And this was probably the biggest thing I realized was I can't be broken. We always hear people say, you're not broken. And you're like, oh, yeah? Do you know me? And that's exactly it. It's you can win the lottery as the worst murderer out there, the lowest vibrating, horrible person out there. And you can still win the lottery. The sun still comes up for you every day. The sun is not going, she's not vibrating properly, I'm not coming up. You're not doing that. Oh, she thought a bad thought. She, attempted suicide. She did this. She did that. That's it. I'm not playing with her anymore. Existence out the window. Forget it, lady. There's no part of your reality that is judging you that way but you, because you're alive and you can, because you're not one dimensional. You are infinite dimensional, and that's just the amazingness of you, to trust in your trembles. Yeah. I get very passionate about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love that your perspective on looking at the near-death experience in a different way, because
Oh yeah,
a lot of people, I feel like, when I've listened to near-death experience podcasts or I've talked about different things, it's all about just their experience. And then like when I ask like what the experience like maybe dismantled for them, like their own beliefs, or like what unexpected truths, like I asked you about it, they can't really tell me.
yeah,
Or it's like, I guess they didn't really process it, or they're still looking at it as death. So I love that you're saying it from this perspective, because I feel like this perspective needs to be talked about more, because I always thought that I just was like trying to avoid it, but I just was like, it's happened. This was the experience.
And now go make dinner.
Like, yeah, mine was like, I have to go take care of my 6-month-old daughter or something, like it was
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And I think a couple of my friends that knew what happened, because it was very hush hush for a while, just because I had to have it be that way, were like, I mean, obviously I got therapy and, that's when I really started to like, I need to go look into healing and, why this is happening, past life stuff, all the things, all the things of why it happened. And I realized,
Nice, shiny
oh,
things.
yeah, like
Yeah.
this is because of a
Fun.
wounded part of myself that's controlling myself still, that needs to stop controlling myself. And I need to get control of myself, kind of thing. Like that's pretty much.
And how'd that work out for you? It was just another experience. And yeah.
So I
Yeah,
think
we think these things. See, the thing is this, I want to go to that healing thing you talked about. We cut ourselves, cut myself good, gotta go get stitches, but my body heals it. My body
right.
heals it, and we go on.
Right.
Your wounds inside are no different. Whether you cut yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, your body's got this. I got you. I got you. Go make dinner for your 6-month-old child. Go change your diaper. It's got you. And the minute you're just can be, oh, when I was 13, this is me. When I was 13 years old, I was horribly raped. So what's going on right now is what I want to know about. And that's why, when these people are just like going, I had this near-death experience, let's talk about it. And they're going, okay, I'll try. I'll try to make this grand. No, you already moved on. You've already moved on. Your body's already healed. You've already moved on to the next sparkly, fun experience because you don't stop. And we want to. I had a podcast person wanted to talk about traumas and survival. And that was the whole basis of their podcast. And I'm like, okay, but what's on the other side of survival? What happens there? That's the breakthrough. The breakthrough is I'm still standing. And I'm always still standing. Always. I hit rock bottom and I start digging. Yeah, but you did it standing. You're always standing. Yeah. That's what, like you said, I would love to see more people talking about. Okay, so you had a near-death experience, big fucking whoop. Tell me about what's going on right now with you. Right. Tell me about the version of you that had the scariest experience of all, but is still standing. I want to hear about the still standing version because that's the version of you that is like, there's a whole universe, there's a multiverse in here. And it's crazy and it's gnarly and it plays in science and it plays in metaphysical and it plays wherever you want because it's always right here.
Yeah. I was going to say, I love that you're saying that because I feel like that was me for a lot of times. I'm like, yeah, but that was
me
when
too.
I used to say different things. People would be like, well, what? I want to go back there. I was like, to be honest, I remember it. I know to get that, like that's the past version of myself. Like I want to talk about now because you could see that that's what I experienced. And I feel like I'm not the only one that experienced it. I just have a podcast and I could talk about it,
Yeah.
There's so many people that don't have podcasts and maybe they want to talk about it. And, so it's like, I love that you look at it from that perspective because I feel like a lot of people don't, but to see it from that perspective makes you think, maybe I should look at it from that perspective. Because I feel like wallow in self-pity and all this stuff for,
go ahead. Sooner or later, that's no fun anymore. And you go on to the next.
Yeah. No, awesome.
I was there for years and years and years and years. And and then without wanting to be, things shifted. Things like the sun. I don't want it to move. I want to stay there so I can take a picture. No.
Yeah.
No. And I have delved into so many theologies trying to find the answer, trying to find what this one is missing and this one is missing, and each one, when I came upon law of attraction through The Secret and stuff, it was like da, da, da. I swore the angels sang, and it was like, here's the answer to everything, until it wasn't, until you start feeling that constraint of you must be vibrating high to have a high result, and going, wait, that's not true. Because I was in the lowest of the low and I found $5 on the ground, and going, oh, but there's a thing called momentum, and momentum is why you had that experience. But then you start going, but if I'm brand new in this moment, never been this age before, never will be again, if I'm always brand new, momentum doesn't fit in there. There's no momentum. And so but we always want that solid one freaking answer. And so you go on and on and on. But you that's the one. And I go one dimensional or multi. I don't do 2, 3, 4. I don't do that crap, because who the frick knows what that is? It's like one dimensional is everything outside of me, things on the TV, chat GPT, the things I've written down, the things I'm reading, Eckhart Tolle's book on now, those things are all one dimensional, and the ideas coming through them are one dimensional. And the reason they don't interact with you, the reason they do for a little bit until they don't, is because you are multi-dimensional. You are that infinite dimensional. You get angry. You get happy. You have orgasms. I don't want to read about an orgasm. I want to have an orgasm. And that's being alive. That's the being alive. I can read these theories. We were talking about quantum and very sciencey and all that. I can go there, and it's so much fun. But then I'm on to the next thing. Suddenly I gotta pee, whatever. That's being alive. And then you're like, oh, I have this thing I'm gonna do after I go pee, and then you're like, what was I gonna do? And that's it. That's exactly it. And so when you drive off a cliff, and what is like, oh, this is big, is it really? Don't make it bigger than a steak dinner. Just go. Let's on to the next thing.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that, but it's like, what? Okay. Now. Yeah. So to kind of wrap everything full circle, how do you feel like your experiences have like dismantled your own beliefs before, that could kind of help others do the same without having to like die first? Like if somebody is scared of death, I feel like this is a huge thing, obviously.
Oh God, yeah, that's the biggest boogity boo out there, is death.
Yeah.
It's the full circle is don't stop trying. Stop trying. You don't have to try to be you. And this is the only constant in your reality. This is the only constant in your reality. You think, oh no, my husband's a constant. No, he's not. He goes to work. Where is he? Yeah. This is, again, coming back to this now moment. What's here right now? You might have memories, you might have all these things, but again, go into amnesia, get rid of all of that. And if you were truly to have amnesia and woke up right now, didn't even know your name, didn't know your history or anything, are you less you? No, you're right here. Your name doesn't define you, unless you have an MF between the name, and then it does. But so the biggest thing I could tell people is, whenever I try to wrap my brain around something, that's me telling me I'm not perfect. That's me telling me I'm broken. And while you can't be less you by doing that, it gets so old. It just gets so old. And, if you're having a full-blown anxiety attack, cool. Put your arms up and go, yeah, let's do that again. You're not less you. You're not less you. You don't stop being the constant just because you're having an anxiety attack. You're alive. TV doesn't get to have those things. It's pretty cool. And while we never want to have another one again,
Right.
yeah, it's doesn't make any, never mind. You are interacting with death in the way you are interacting with death. And when you're ready to interact with it in a different way, it's going to happen whether you like it or not. You're going to have some, either maybe a friend is going to say something, or you're going to be watching some random video on YouTube or something, or you're listening to this podcast, whatever. Somebody's going to say something that's going to, just for you, nobody else, it's going to click that. And you're going to go, oh, I think I knew that. It's always that. I think I knew that. Did I know that? I think I did. And you just, and that's it. And now you can't go back, like law of assumption with Neville Goddard. He talks about death and stuff it's the old man and the new man. The old man is the old version of you that had all that. And, dig a 6-foot hole, throw that old guy in, and the new you. And, it's really worth Googling and reading about that. I love it. I love his, what he's saying about it, but it's just this old let's say Christianity. That was my old man. And then I went into law of attraction, and that old version that had all those really important knowings and everything, every belief, this is who I'm going to be the rest of my life. Yeah, every single one of us is 16 years old. This is the music I'm going to listen to the rest of my life. These are the friends I'm going to have the rest of my life. Yeah, that version of you is fully dead. You can feel that there's not even the slightest squeak of that version of you anymore. That's old. That's gone. And, and we have how many of those? How many of us are like nothing close to our 20-year-old selves or our 16-year-old selves? And scientifically, yeah, not one of those cells remains in your body. All those cells are dead and gone, right? So however you want to look at it, you do die, literally, scientifically and all, and you didn't know it. You had no idea. You completely died and have been reborn on a cellular level. You have no idea. And that's death. Death is nothing more. It's just a state. It's just a state, like the state of mother and the state of successful business person or the state of the coffee drinker. It's just a state that you are giving all this stuff to. You're giving it a role to play. And it's like, ma'am, yes, ma'am. Okay. I'm big and scary. Okay.
Yeah. Where it's giving, you're giving all your energy to like having it control your life, or, like, I'm scared of dying here, or it's like every single one of us have the same path. We're all going to not be here at one point on Earth.
Yeah.
So why are we rushing to that day? Like, I ask that question to myself sometimes. I'm like, why are we rushing to not be on Earth anymore? Like, it doesn't make any sense, because all of us at the end of the day have that will happen, every single person. But like, obviously a little bit different and how it happens or whatever. But yeah, like I
bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit ain't happening to me. That's fully there. Again, this is that there's death. I hear what you're saying, but we're all going to die someday. No. Have you been listening to what I'm saying? No. This body has no evidence of ever not existing. And it's like, so, but wait, Robin Williams died. Yeah, no, you manifested a person named Robin Williams, and you gave him a whole history and everything with you, and now he's gone to support the state of death. And I needed it bigger, so now I'm going to create a bigger evidence of death to support the state of death. And so now I'm like going, no, I have no idea. I don't know what happens to age if we're not dying. What happens? I have no idea. But I know that how exciting, like if Robin Williams, for everybody that was observing him, he died, but he's still alive in a different dimension. We can play that. We can play there,
Right.
but I think it's much more simplistic than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, take death off the table completely. All death, all halting. You continue on, like you, Lauren, continues on. And I don't know what that's going to look like. I think it's
I
exciting
think
as
I should
hell.
preface it by saying, not on Earth anymore. I will be in a different dimension.
Yeah. Yeah. But what if that's even a falsity? It's
Right.
just,
I don't know. That's what
I
I'm trying to
know, but we get to play there, because back when I believed in death and I was a medium and I was interacting with dead people, you couldn't have told me this. I would have been like, well, okay, that's one way to look at it. And, it, like I said, this is what I mean by don't try to force yourself. You're going to get to this state and it's not going to stop here. I wish.
Right.
I wish it would sometimes. But you're on to the next big aspect of yourself. You're on and you're on and you're on. But each huge epiphany and stuff that I have just concretes more and more that this being has no memory of not existing. And that understanding just gets bigger and just more evident. And it's like, okay, but can you answer these questions over here I have? It'll happen when it happens.
Right.
Yeah.
No, no, on that level, in a different dimension, I should say.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I believe, like, me being a medium too, I have talked to dead people. I also believe that, like, I do also believe that there is different dimensions. And if I'm not on the 3D plane, where am I going to go? Like, where am I going to go next? Or what? That's my curious brain of, like, death, like the society death, like not being here, like my physical body not being here. But you're right. It's a valid point. How do I know this? I don't know this. I'm just listening, I guess. I don't know.
It works. It works for, back in, I don't know how long ago it was, when I believed wholeheartedly in UFOs and aliens. I even have distinct memories of being taken. I had literal being outside, seeing things, real experiences. So it was concrete, it was real. And I think what happens when we're in those spaces is it's filling a need. There's a need in there somewhere. I never knew what the need was, but there was a need in there. And at that time I was like, oh my God, here's the absolute evidence. And as I looked forward into my life, I was like, this is always going to be a part of my reality now, aliens. And oh my gosh, we're going to have first contact. And oh my gosh, we're going to have this. And I had a whole understanding of what my future was going to be. And then it shifted. And then all of a sudden it was, because I used to be a channeler, until the beings I was channeled told me, you understand you're not channeling, right? That we're just a permission slip for you to interact with your own wisdom. And I didn't want that. I liked being a channeler. I was having fun. I liked that. And I did not want to know that. And even later that day, when my friend told me the exact same thing, word for word, verbatim, I was like, damn it. And my audience did not like that at all. And, there were people very angry at me. They don't want to talk to me. They want to talk to dragons. That was fun. And even though it's the exact same thing, even though I'm saying the exact same thing, but and so that's what happened with the UFOs too. I get people now, they're like, so you don't believe in UFOs anymore? And I'm like, that's like saying I don't believe in my 16-year-old self anymore. Who I was at 16 and what I believed in was very real, was very awesome, and was an amazing experience. But she's dead. She's dead. And the world that she was in is dead too. And so the world I was interacting with UFOs and all that, it's now gone. You could say dimension. I'm not there anymore. I'm in a different reality, a different shift of my world. And I don't need to believe in UFOs or that anymore. It's not that I don't. It's just, it's not a need. I don't need to do it, so I don't believe. But it not because it's wrong. I just don't need it. Just like when we were little kids, we had Santa Claus. You couldn't tell that kid there was no Santa Claus until they were ready. And then it was like, well, yeah, of course there's no Santa Claus. I knew this. But it's like there's that version of them dies.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you had said about the need, because I feel like thinking back of like when I needed something, if it's channeling something, or if it's like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. You're right. Like, sure, I channel, but I also know that I'm channeling for that like, it's like you said, it's you. Like,
it's you.
We're all part of the same consciousness. It's just society or people that don't really believe into it, or if it's like, they have some self-doubt or whatever is in the way.
Yeah.
They like to hear, oh, it's this person. Oh, it's this person. Oh, it's a dragon. Because it is. It's fun. It's really.
It was a blast. And, again, when I was doing it, it was as real could be. I was literally like kicking back, listening to somebody else talking through my mouth. I had a real experience. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh no. And then all of a sudden it became a dog and pony show. And I was like, I can't do that. That's not me. That's not who I am. What's going to happen if I say I'm not doing this anymore? And there was no turning back. And I think that's what we find is there's no turning back. It's like having the death experience and all that. Now I have a whole new view of death, and there's no saying no to that. There's no turning back from what I know about death now. And that's why when somebody's saying something, I can go, bullshit. Because, and I understand that they do not see what I'm seeing, but I have no problem doing that just because it's fun. Number one, I love taking people for a walk and saying, come for a walk through my world. It's crazy as hell. And it's fun. But it's never, this is right and that is wrong. It's never that. Never. It can't be. It's not a possibility. It's just, this is what's going on in my world. Isn't it crazy? Isn't it fun? And, it's going to change, and who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if somebody could walk away from this conversation, I'm excited to hear when people listen to this conversation. It'll be out next week. What is one thing that they take from this conversation? How can they see their self or their reality, I should say? And what would be the most thing that you would want them to walk away from this conversation from?
Oh, okay. So this comes from the dragons. If you detect bullshit, toxicity, the solicitation to dumb yourself down to the version of what their need is, don't do it. Don't be afraid. Be the dragon.
I love that. I love me some dragons.
They're fun. They spit fire.
Well, thank you for joining us on today's episode with Kristen on the Enlightened Misfits podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with somebody that you feel that would gain knowledge from listening. Stay tuned for more captivating conversations in the future. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you next time.
Thank you for joining us on another enlightening episode on the Enlightened Misfits podcast. If you are a current or inspiring to be fempreneur, suffering from the fear of being seen and or feel very triggered when you're building your business, reach out to me at the Mermaid Light about my Rich and Resilient Biz Baddies. This is a collective text message Voxer support group designed to help you heal your triggers and turn imposter syndrome into bad bitch energy. If you resonate with our conversations and insight, don't forget to subscribe, rate the show, and leave a review. Your feedback fuels our mission. Remember, your journey to unwavering certainty and purpose is ongoing. So please make sure you stay connected with us on social media. Keep manifesting greatness in your life. Until next time, this is Lauren from the Enlightened Misfits podcast. Stay enlightened, stay inspired, and keep manifesting your extraordinary path.